killed and injured on Bondi Beach this weekend, celebrating Hanukkah. This attack must be called for what it is: anti-Semitic terrorism. President Trump and the U.S. government will continue to combat anti-Semitism wherever it occurs, including here at the United Nations. Last week, Ambassador Waltz traveled to Jordan and Israel, where he had the honor of spending time with the mother and father of Police Sergeant Ran Gavili, the last remaining hostage in Gaza. There, Ambassador Waltz learned of Ran's heroism. While off from work on medical leave, he saved dozens of lives before he was ultimately injured in a firefight and dragged to Gaza on the back of a motorbike. The world knows that Hamas and its affiliates knew the location of every hostage, and President Trump was clear. As part of the comprehensive plan to end the Gaza conflict, every hostage must come home. Ran's body must be returned to his parents and siblings now. We cannot move forward until he is home. Ambassador Waltz also had the opportunity to visit a warehouse run by the Jordan Hashemite Charity Organization, where aid procured with American taxpayer money sits in warehouses. Some of it is at risk of expiring. However, due to U.S. advocacy, humanitarian aid is transiting the Allenby crossing again, with World Food Program trucks passing through on December 10th. We will continue to work with our partners in Jordan and Israel to fully reopen the Jordan corridor for the more effective government-to-government route. This corridor is the most efficient and accountable route for providing much-needed aid to Gaza. The United States supports the need for clear security arrangements after a terrorist killed 2 Israelis on September 18th at the Allenby crossing. All parties must work to address these security issues so that the corridor can return to its prior level of operation. This council should also acknowledge that humanitarian aid has surged since the ceasefire began. The efforts of the United States and our partners are improving the humanitarian situation on the ground. Over 30,000 commercial and humanitarian trucks have entered Gaza, bringing food, shelter, and medicine, all thanks to the efforts of President Trump and the Civil Military Coordination Center, known as the CMCC. We continue to work with the UN and others so that supplies can reach those in need without diversion to terrorists or looters. With the USG and other donor support, the World Food Program is providing approximately 2 million hot meals daily within Gaza, and it is operating more than 200 bakeries. A successful vaccination campaign inoculated tens of thousands of children, protecting them from daily disease. Since October, the U.S. government obligated an additional $330 million to WFP and other NGOs to continue emergency food and shelter assistance. It also provides for field hospital support and to address water and sanitation needs. All of these improvements are the result of the hard work of the United States and our partners at the CMCC. We call on all in the Council today to contribute to our efforts with the CMCC and the International Stabilization Force. As Secretary Rubio stated, UNRWA is a subsidiary of Hamas. UNRWA operates under the absurd framework that treats Hamas like any other actor, and it rejects any reasonable standards for accountability or the vetting of its staff or partners. Colleagues, we have been clear. The United States opposes these quarterly briefings on UNSCR 2334, as they only distract from pressing threats to international peace and security. Resolution 2803, not 2334, charts the path towards a stable, safe, and prosperous Middle East. We are working with partners to stand up the International Stabilization Force and train fully vetted Palestinian police, not rehashing decades of failed policies. This council should recognize and end its outsized focus on an outdated resolution. The United States remains focused on keeping Israel secure and the Gaza and West Bank stable. President Trump has been perfectly clear that the United States expects the violence in the West Bank to end and that the United States will not allow the annexation of the West Bank. Perfunctory meetings like this one today are a distraction. The United States and its partners in the region will continue to focus on improving the situation on the ground, day in and day out. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the United States for the statement, and I give the floor to the representative of Denmark.
Thank you, Mr. President. And let me also thank Deputy Special Coordinator Alec Barra for his briefing. I would like from the outset to express Denmark's condemnation of the recent terrorist attacks in Sydney. We stand not only with Australia, but also with the entire Jewish community in rejecting all forms of terrorism and anti-Semitism. Mr. President, 9 years ago, this Council took a decisive step. In adopting Resolution 2334, the international community declared Israeli settlements a violation of international law and called for their immediate halt. It was an act of real solidarity in an effort to safeguard the two-state solution. Today, however, we face a situation of expanded settlements, intensified settler violence, and widespread displacement. Our failure to make real progress on this issue has long been deeply troubling. If we do not act decisively, it will soon be irreversible. The conflict in Gaza has rightly drawn the attention of the international community for more than 2 years, but support to Gaza must not come at the expense of our focus on the situation in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. Mr. President, let me highlight 4 critical points. First, all settlement expansions must be halted immediately and any attempt at de facto annexation prevented. Continued expansion of Israeli settlements, legalization of outposts, seizure of Palestinian land, and implementation of the E1 plan are threatening the territorial integrity of a future Palestinian state. Denmark strongly deplores all settler takeovers and demolitions, including in the Silwan neighborhood of East Jerusalem. We urge Israel to immediately halt these measures and recall the attempts to change the demographic composition of the occupied Palestinian territory to forcible transfers and deportations are prohibited under international humanitarian law. Denmark is also appalled by the forcible raid of UNRWA's premises in East Jerusalem on